But anyways, let's move on to players whose stock went down a little bit. I'm going to start with you. Can you give me? You can give me both of them. Go right ahead, man. I'm not going to stop you. It's a free world.
All right. My two players whose stock went down this week. I've got Alec Khan and I'm going to botch the name, Christian Kalina. How do you pronounce his first name?
The Christian Kalina, the goalkeeper from Charlotte.
Is it pronounced Christian?
I
Even
don't.
though
I
it's
don't know.
like
I know who you're talking. Goalkeeper from Charlotte, right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So before we move on, for a person who thought Alec Khan was one of the worst goalkeeper signings in the league, to say that his stock went
I did.
down is
I never once said that Alec Khan was one of the worst goalkeeper signings in the league.
maybe
I
not on
said
recording, but I'm
no,
sure I can. I'm sure if I stuck a mic in your room, I'm sure you would have said it at least once.
no. He was not. I never thought that he would be one of the worst goalkeeper signings in the league, but he was consistently a backup and hasn't started a game since like 2018. So I was saying you were super high on him. You gave them like an A minus grade.
Player.
You gave him like an A minus grade for the signing, and I just thought you were ludicrous for that because he's an upgrade, but he wasn't going to be that much of an upgrade. And to dive into the analysis of why he's on here for me, it's game one. Obviously, we're just talking about the first game of the season. This stuff will very likely change going further into the season. So take everything with a grain of salt. Not saying Alec Khan is doomed for the rest of the season. It was a bad week one. But when I say it was a bad week one, it was a bad week one. That was T-Tone Vermeer-esque from Khan that first game. He finished with, I used two different rating apps to try to get like a score for him, just so there's a little bit of balance between the two. Who scored him a 4.47 rating? That is horrendous. That may have been the lowest score I've ever seen from someone who played 90 minutes in a game. And he didn't, it's not like he got red carded or anything. Like, no, he played the full 90, no red card, and still got a 4.47.
Just to help you out, of all players who played any minutes during any MLS game this year or this week, he was the worst rated.
Yeah. And I used another app called SofaScore. It does something pretty similar to who scored, does a similar rating. They gave him a 5.1, a bit more generous, but still 5.1, well off of what it should be, considering that someone who gets brought on as a sub, I believe, starts at a 6.0. So that's going to tell you as much as you need to know right there. I mean, that's horrendous. He conceded 5 goals against Austin, the team that scored the least amount of goals all season last year. I understand Austin improved. They were not going to be as bad attacking wise as they were last year, but what a terrible start. I fully expect that Khan will not be consistently putting in performances like this. It will get better. He needs some time to adjust to the team, get some chemistry with the back line, but I have to pick someone for the first week. And I thought we had a sense that Khan was going to be an improvement over Vermeer and T-Tone. And seeing as how he was at that level at the first game, I think his stock went down from where we originally thought. Then we have Kalina for Charlotte. I looked on Google. Google said that DC had 4 shots on target that game. DC finished that game with 3 goals. That means 3 of the 4 shots on target went in. Granted, this could have been from the defense. I didn't get to see the game, so I don't know for sure. He could have just been hung out to dry. But of course, I had to check my favorite stat. And I did. Alec Khan was the lowest by far. He had like a -2. It was horrendous. It was so bad. But Kalina was right there with him. Kalina finished with I think like a -1 or something. He was either the second to last worst rating or third to last. Not a good start. I would expect Kalina to be facing a lot of difficult shots and bad situations, just seeing as how the team defensively doesn't seem super strong and also has to get some chemistry and kind of gel together. But not a great way to not only start your MLS debut, but your team's MLS debut. Again, I fully expect that Kalina will grow into things. He will improve. I have to pick someone for week one. I just thought Kalina would be better. And I added a little note here. I said the only reason that I picked Kalina over Thomas Hasal was because Hasal was playing with 10 players for a bit of time. And I think he conceded like 2 while they were down to 10 men. So I thought it would have been kind of harsh to hit him harder than Kalina here. But yeah, so I went with Khan and Kalina for week 1.
Very interesting. 2 goalkeepers, kind of rough. Not a fan being a part of.
No, I
keeping
was
him as
trying
well.
not to. I picked Khan originally. I was like, I don't want to go with another goalkeeper, but I couldn't land on someone that I thought was like significantly worse.
It's fair.
Maybe I missed, but
Okay.
what do you have?
Quick pause. All right, so 2 goalkeepers, rough, not a fan. On a side note, the fact that you didn't put Dom Dwyer on your stock up must mean that he is your player of the week. But my stock down, I've got 2 players, both from Canada, or Canadian teams, I should say.
Picking on Canadians, kind of rough, man.
Come on, they deserve this. Lucas Cavallini is my first one. In place of an injured Brian White, he just really just let me down. I was expecting a lot more out of him. And even before the red card happened, every time he touched the ball, it just felt like he lost it. 88 minutes, he had 2 shots, none of which went on target. 5 unsuccessful touches / dribbles. Like every time he touched the ball, he lost it. He had 0 successful ones, 63% pass rating. Just felt really underwhelming for what Adam hypes him up to be. And I'm really glad Adam's not here because I wouldn't be allowed to say something like this. And again, that's not really a knock on him. I know for 40 minutes he was playing down a man, but even before that, he just really, every time the ball came to him, it came off his foot and he lost it. Expected a lot more. Now, when Brian White comes back, obviously he gets relegated to the bench. Brian White scores 9 goals. We all celebrate, and Brian White makes the national team for U.S. men's national team roster. But up until then, I think Cavallini was a bit underwhelming. I think his stock went down this week. My other one is it's kind of a rough one, but Jacob Schaffelberg for Toronto. And I know he's not a left back, but as he was playing as a left back, he got absolutely demolished against Dallas, which makes me happy to say. Go on, Dallas. Dallas finally have people we know. I have to support them now.
You know one person on Dallas.
I know at least 2 because they both played for Greg's national team. Come on. Obrian and Ariola absolutely ate him up all day long. It wasn't fun. Every time the ball went in the air, he got lost. Going forward, he was pretty good. But in the defensive side of it, he just got massively beat up. He did have a 6.48 rating on WhoScored, but I think that was mainly for his attacking contribution. When he did go forward, he was great. He made 1 tackle all game. He had 2 interceptions and a clearance. For a team that was under that much pressure, that's really not great. He did give away 1 foul and was booked for it. And he did block a single cross all day, which is where most of the service was coming from. So not a great day for him. Definitely want to get Crescito in there ASAP so he can go back up the field a little bit. But yeah, I know they're trying to put together this hodgepodge back line until, a few people come in, but he's not the guy. You're not the guy, man.
Nope. I would say if you want me to throw in a name that's not a goalkeeper, I'll give an honorable mention shout to Jordan Morris. We were watching him last night and we were talking about it a lot, but he was very non-existent that game. I think he started out on the wing and then ended up more centrally, but he wasn't really getting into good spaces. I granted the service wasn't fantastic last night, but he wasn't really helping to create opportunities for the team, whether it was getting in good spaces or even creating the chances himself. I get it. He hasn't played a ton over the last 2 years, basically, but and I'm sure he'll come into it more. But it was a slow night for him last night, and it really looked like Nashville knew how to take him out of the game.
Yeah, and Nashville's going to do that to every good striker in the league this year, by the way. But
yeah, it's totally fair.